Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Conversation. It's on this beautiful Saturday tonight, April 30, 2022. Now, before we end the month off, we going to come up. We actually got plenty of topics to talk about as well. We got WWE. It's that time again where WWE is going on their releases after WrestleMania. We want to also talk about the TNT title losing its prestige. Ember Moon, she speaks up about the WWE NXT. She talks about how Triple H, everything went downhill when Triple H left, and finally, but not least, the tag team titles unification match is being canceled. It's being held off. Why? Why would you do that? They replaced it with a 6-man tag team match. We will talk all about that more on Wrestling with Conversation episode 2. Now, before we begin, if you are tuning in, thank you. Be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you missed out on the first episode of Wrestling with Conversation, I will be leaving the link down below in the description. So further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to start with 2 WWE releases that WWE has announced it. With that being said, we have Dakota Kai and Dexter Lumis. Now we're going to talk about Dexter Lumis right quick first, because he's actually one that actually been released, and Dakota Kai was the one that didn't resign. So let's talk about Dakota. Let's talk about Dexter Lumis and what went from downhill to his release. Now a lot of folks gonna disagree, but I believe his downfall was putting him in that romance love storyline with Indian Hartwell. And I truly believe that was the downfall of his release, of his career, because how you not book him to be the monster he was turned out to be, the mystery character he was turned out to be? He could have been at least 2-time North America champion. He could have been at least a 1-time NXT champion, but unfortunately it didn't happen. I knew the storyline was going to run its course, because they was going to get bored of it, and then they would be like, oh, we don't know what else to do with it, because we already ruined him, so why not just get him off our roster space, taking up space, and, you know, save money for whatever. And I feel like they dropped the bomb. They dropped the ball with him. They fumbled the bag, because he was actually talented in the mud. And he's one of those rare people where he didn't need a mic to get over. You saw what he did. His character was over. His character showed and told story. His wrestling ring told story as well. All you had to do was look at his presence and you would know what he's all about. And unfortunately, he did have an injury that kind of did messed up his chance to be in championship. But like I said, they could have easily put him back in the title championship picture. But it looks like it wasn't going that way, especially when they revamped the NXT into NXT 2.0 for the younger generation. And truly, I'm honestly disappointed, but I know he will find work somewhere else. And I don't want to see him in AEW, because he won't do nothing in AEW. They won't push him in AEW. They won't do nothing. People keep saying go to AEW. That is not the case. He needs to go to TNA, Impact Wrestling, where everybody else is at, and where they booking the better women's division. I mean, injury sucks, man. I know it's unpredictable. You never know when you're going to be injured. But honestly, he's talented. I mean, you see his paintings. He would find work somewhere else. He would definitely find work. Speaking of the women's division in Impact Wrestling, I can see Dakota Kai going to Impact Wrestling to, you know, thrive and showcase what she has and what she can work with. Now, a lot of folks saying that she was released. She might have been released because she made it known that she wasn't going to. She made it known that she wasn't going to sign a new contract, and I actually don't blame her because the way they treating her lately and the way they just wasn't giving her opportunities. They hooked her up with Wendy's shoes, and I know she was irritated with that. That new gimmick sucked. Like, everybody tried to tell me I was wrong, but the new gimmick did suck. And unfortunately, she did have knee surgery that kind of took her down a little bit. They put the women's tag team championships on her only for a day. A whole day. Then the other one was the same night. It was actually kind of disappointing. She actually made a joke out of it. She said, "Hey, at least I had it for the whole day or whatever." And it was actually kind of depressing because she is talented. They just didn't use her. They didn't know how to use her. Dakota Kai would thrive in Impact Wrestling. Hopefully they sign her up, and Dexter Lumis, he can go to Impact Wrestling as well, because those two, they will know Impact Wrestling. Hopefully they will know what to do with these people because they are talented. And honestly, she could have been champion. She could have been on the main roster, and people trying to blame, oh, she didn't want to sign, so that's why she's not on the main roster. How you gonna blame her for the way they booking her on NXT? I mean, I wouldn't blame her either. I would have left too as well. So that was there for the NXT release. There would unfortunately be more, but that is all that is announced right now. Let's go to someone speaking up. Speaking of the new, younger NXT 2.0 wrestling generation, we do have Ember Moon speaking about it. She said they would have whole meetings about something dressing more like Mandy Rose. And she did say she respects Mandy Rose and Mandy Rose is good and all that. Now, a lot of folks taking what she said and talking about how she have an attitude, how she didn't have a character and such and such and such. Now, isn't that WWE part to give her a character, to give her something to work with? I mean, y'all see it, she's good in the ring. She did a lot of work in NXT, the black and gold brand. Now, she did get injured from chasing the 24/7 championship. I guess when she hopped over that crowd, she got hurt her leg. Unfortunately, it just didn't pan out well because they did brought her back from the main roster to the NXT roster where Triple H was running it. He was using her, but unfortunately, Triple H stopped running things around, and it just didn't bond well. It just didn't end well for her. And, you know, if she's uncomfortable wearing or doing whatever she wants to do or whatever they telling her to do, then, you know, you got to respect it. Yeah, her ring attire was a little something, so maybe she was being a little biased or whatever, but if this was all just to get into AEW, then honestly I would lose respect for her because that is not how you get somewhere else. And unfortunately, she would not get well in the AEW either. I'm just speaking fast because I don't know if she can build her character or if she has a character or whatever. But that was interesting how WWE couldn't figure out a character for her. But hopefully she's out there doing some work in the Indians, so hopefully she's okay because she hurting herself on chairs and stuff. Excuse me, but that is all I have to say. I respect her decisions, but if she's doing this just to get into AEW, because a lot of folks saying AEW, then, you know, whatever works for her, hopefully she find what she's looking for. That's all I have to say about that, but you gotta respect her decisions at the end of the day because those are her decisions and it's her life. So, yeah, she was good in NXT for what it was. I just hate WWE didn't use her to her full potential. But speaking of AEW, the TNT champion, is it losing its prestige? A lot of folks saying the TNT champion is not losing his prestige, but it actually is losing his prestige. Now, Cody Rhodes was TNT champion. him and Sammy Guevara was going back and forth, with it, until eventually they had a ladder match and Cody Rhodes decided, it was time for him to leave because what else can he do there? Because, he told himself that he would not win the world champion there, so he didn't want to be a 15-time TNT champion, so eventually he left to come back to the home of WWE. Now, was that the right choice? I don't know. It's up to him. It was to me. I feel like he done everything in WWE. So what was the point? Honestly, I feel like I'm happy Scorpion Sky beat Sammy Guevara for the TNT champion, but I feel like they didn't need it to have this ladder match. What was the point of trying to do this ladder match? Was it to combat the ladder match between him and Cody Rhodes, Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes? Like, what was the point? Was it to make Sammy Guevara a 3-time champion just so Cody Rhodes won't be a 3-time TNT champion? I feel like that was so petty on AEW's part. Scorpion Sky shouldn't have lost the championship in the first place. He really shouldn't have lost the championship in the first place. But hopefully he keeps the champion. They book him to a longer title reign. But honestly, I would have killed the championship. If I'm being real, I would have killed the champion. I would have kept the championship on Miro. He was good as the TNT champion. There was no reason why they should have took the championship off of him. I don't know if he had an injury during his championship reign or if it was after his championship reign. Now they saying he's doing TV shows or movies or doing something, or they just waiting for a perfect opportunity to bring him back. But eventually, I would have had Miro dominate the mid-card division, have Scorpion Sky and Ethan Page go after the tag team division run, maybe for a little bit. And I would have had Miro drop the title. Honestly, I wouldn't have him drop the title to no one unless he really needed to drop the title. But yes, the TNT Championship has lost some prestige, and hopefully Scorpion Sky can bring some of that back. Yeah, that's unfortunately they need to do better. I don't know if they called audible and just gave Scorpion Sky the TNT champion because Sammy Guevara was quote unquote injured, and I don't know how serious or how true that might be, but that was honestly his fault because he shouldn't have tried to do such a horrible move. And a lot of folks in Scorpion Sky didn't catch him. If he would have caught him, then Scorpion Sky would have been the main one injured. He tried to save him the best he could without hurting himself. So I feel like people just need to relax and just stop being so stupid, because Scorpion Sky shouldn't get hurt for trying to protect somebody else's stupidity. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Scorpion Sky is a now 2-time TNT champion. I feel like he would have just had a long-term, one-time TNT champion. But what can I say? There's nothing we can do about it. It's already happened. And now, yeah. Hopefully they find some good feuds for him. And hopefully they don't break up Ethan Page and Scorpion Sky, because he did give his former partner Kazir, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, a friendly TNT championship title match, and Ethan Page and Dan Lambert was looking at him all confused. Now, why you didn't give Ethan Page a friendly TNT championship match as well? I just don't understand that, because even though he wasn't involved in his wins tonight, what did his former partner do to help him win the TNT championship? He didn't do nothing. He was watching from backstage. So maybe he was trying to break them up and put them back together. But Scorpion Sky does not need to be a babyface. Keep him as a heel. That's where he shines more. Keep him as a heel, I repeat. Now, last but not least, the tag team titles unification match is being held off. Now, why? why is the question everybody's wondering? Why would they build this championship why would they build this championship unification match only to hold it off, only to replace it with a 6-man tag team match? A lot of folks is getting mad, a lot of folks is being angry, and me, it kind of puzzles me, because why build something up for so long, then have a last minute decision? Now, I know WWE can do whatever they want. I know it's the WWE way, but you basically clickbait and basically, you know, still stabbing folks in the back with these last minute changes. Now, the match card was to be subject to change, but still. Now, is they thinking about not unifying the tag team champions, or they want to hold it off into a bigger stage? Maybe SummerSlam. Maybe they trying to have Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam as well, and have the unified tag team champions at SummerSlam as well. I get what they was doing, but please plan ahead so you know what you guys are doing to avoid this reaction. Now, Randy Orton, RK Bro, and Drew McIntyre will be taking on the Usos and Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, in a 6-man tag team match in the main event of WrestleMania Backlash. I get what they was doing. I get what they was going for. And I get what they was going with this. Now, honestly, you just got to do more, you know what I'm saying? Now, is they thinking about not doing it at all? Because honestly, I feel like the tag team championships do need to be unified. But what would it leave RK Bro? There's not a lot of tag teams on Raw and SmackDown, but they could build some tag teams, but they not gonna do that. So unfortunately, I feel like the Usos will be taking both belts at SummerSlam, and Drew will not be beating Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for both champions. So that case being said, I get what they was doing, but they shoulda. I went over the topics of Dakota Kai being released and Dexter Lumis being released, or possibly Dakota Kai not re-signing her contract. I talked about how I can see both of them at Impact Wrestling. The topics of TNT title losing its prestige. Ember Moon speaking up about the meetings in the backstage meetings with NXT 2.0 with Vince McMahon taking over with Bruce Pritchard and his team. Talk about how the tag team titles unification championship match was being held off, and what it possibly means for the future. All on Wrestling with Conversation on episode 2. If you enjoyed this, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button. Comment, what do you think about this episode so far? What was your favorite topic so far? Did you disagree with me? Did you agree with me? And if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to hit that bell for post notification. Until next time, I will see you guys in my next video. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. They should have at least thought this through. They really did, and now they got a lot of folks angry. Now, would WWE actually care? No, they would not care whether we mad or not. They doing what's best for them, or they doing what they think is best for them. Now, with that being said, yeah, I feel like, you know, there's not much we can say about it but voice our opinions. That is pretty much it of Wrestling with Conversation, episode 2.